What up, Salvador Briggman here. Welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified YouTube channel. On this channel, I talk about how to raise money successfully when it comes to Kickstarter campaign, Indiegogo campaign, how to actually get a passion project out there to the world, and also have other people buy this, own this, and really reach your full potential as a creator. So today I want to talk about how does Kickstarter work for an inventor. So if you're an inventor in the audience, if you have many different ideas which you've been brainstorming, we're going to be talking about that today. So if you're an inventor, I'm really lumping a lot of different types of people into that category, but really you've come up with a new idea. You've come up with an idea, something that's going to change the world. Maybe you also have a prototype, maybe you also have designs, etc. Maybe you don't have yet even get to that step. So I want to talk about how does this work for those of you out there that are kind of in that kind of mindset. And also you maybe have many different ideas. So you figure out this entire system when it comes to getting projects funded, actually getting funding for your products and your inventions. It's much, I think, easier in that way because then you can actually get project funded after project funded after project funded. I have actually great examples of that. Man, my name is Sal, by the way. If you haven't come to the channel too much, so I have many great examples of that on my Crowdfunding Demystified podcast, where I bring people on real world examples who are currently raising money. So that every single week we do this, and we've had people do 6- and 7-figure campaigns. We have mega campaigns, obviously, on the show. I think we're at over 300, maybe almost over 400 episodes at this point in time, which is crazy, right? And the fact that anyone out there can raise money, I think, is so incredibly empowering. But also, you'll see these inventors who have many different product ideas coming on again and again and again, raising money when it comes to this project, that project, that project. So you can actually do multiple campaigns. I've seen people do 5 campaigns, 10 campaigns, 20 Kickstarter campaigns. Really, there is no limits. So what should you know about how Kickstarter works? So if you're an inventor in the audience, the biggest thing is whether or not you have this idea that's already in some kind of a form where people can actually see it, right? So you maybe just have the idea when it comes to invention. If you're already in the stage of the prototype, that's gonna make things much easier when it comes to doing a crowdfunding campaign. So usually most people that I'm coaching or most people that I'm helping when it comes to execution are usually in the middle of those two different stages. So maybe you already have the idea, maybe you have some sketches, you're just kind of getting into your 3D renderings or designs, or maybe you also have an initial prototype which is made, maybe not a full working prototype, or you do have a working prototype, but just not made out of the end materials, right? So there's kind of like a sliding scale or a spectrum. The first thing is that the way that Kickstarter works is that you need to have a prototype of some kind in order to raise funds on the platform. So that's one big thing that holds a lot of people back. However, it shouldn't be something that kind of handicaps you or holds you back from really starting this entire process, because the whole pre-launch process you have to go through before you go into a campaign, which goes beyond the scope of this video. But the first thing I want you to take away is that the way that Kickstarter works for inventors is that you need a prototype of some kind to show people before going live with a campaign. This is not only to kind of build some trust, obviously, with backers that are out there that are funding these different projects and they're backing you and becoming a member of your community, but also it's just something when it comes to being able to demonstrate the functionality which you promised can actually exist in the real world, right? Because there's so many different scams, so many kinds of projects that just haven't gone super well, right, when it comes to crowdfunding. So you need to show a prototype, you need to demonstrate functionality in some way. There are ways of getting around this. You could be doing some other kind of a platform campaign. However, when it comes to Kickstarter, this is one of the things you will need. Going from that point, which is kind of the beginning requirement, I would say, the way that Kickstarter works is that you need to launch within a particular category. So there are many different kinds of categories on Kickstarter. There's technology, design, gaming, right? You have obviously like tabletop games, that kind of stuff. You have more artistic publishing categories, etc. So you can go on Kickstarter.com and you can also discover some of those different categories that are out there. In addition, if you go to kickstarterforum.org, which is actually my online forum community, you can see some of the other projects that people are launching that are a part of my community, mycrowdcrux.com, my website, my community. This is a website that's associated with that. So that being said, you kind of want to think a little bit about what category would you be launching on. The other way that Kickstarter works, aside from launching within a category, is that when people come to this campaign and you launch this campaign, you're going to go live on the website. It's called going live, right? You're going live on the Kickstarter platform. What does that mean? That means that now people around the world can actively fund your project, which is so freaking cool, right? So you can get tons of backers, you can get tons of people that are actually supporting this, you can have people that have never met you before actually come and actually fund this and actually discover your page right now that you're online. You're also probably spreading the word on social media and all that kind of stuff. But the big thing here is that you have to go live in order for that to happen. So before that point, you're kind of in more of the creating a page, creating the actual pitch, creating a pitch video. There are certain things that you need in order to have what's called a Kickstarter campaign, right? So a Kickstarter campaign would include a video, it would include a description, your actual campaign page, usually has some graphics and some images there as well, and also perks or rewards. So perks or rewards are when you go live, these are the things that people can claim or pick or decide to back at that particular reward tier They're different kind of items, if you will, that people can claim. So they could be, for example, perks that are discounted in nature, a certain percentage off discount. We're giving people early exclusive access because you're coming out with this product, and they get exclusive access to that. And once you're going live with retailers, you're gonna be charging a higher price. So one perk might be just you're giving the product, but at a lower discount once you do fully come out with this product. Others could be, if you're doing other kind of interesting rewards, it could be the chance that they meet the founding team. It could be also other things when it comes to like, you producing swag or you producing that kind of stuff. It really depends from category to category, and certain categories work better when it comes to certain types of rewards. So that's the main thing that you're gonna do. You're gonna need video, campaign page, you're gonna need perks or rewards, things that people can claim the second that you go live with that Kickstarter campaign. Want to take all the stress out of fulfilling your Kickstarter rewards? Fulfillment is the turnkey solution that puts product delivery on autopilot. The Top Campaigns uses trusted high-tech provider to store, package, and ship their products. Focus on growing your business. Leave shipping to the experts. Don't wait. Get a custom quote from Fulfillment today. Link in the description. The next way that Kickstarter works is that you're gonna be live on the platform for a particular period of time. So that could be for 20 days, it could be for 30 days, it could be for 60 days. I'd say the average is usually around 60 days with kind of like a hovering between 20 days to 40 days, right? So campaigns sometimes are a little bit longer if they wanna continue raising funds, a little bit shorter if they wanna make sure they have really great urgency to get people to take action now, right? So I recommend usually by default a duration around 30 days of doing a Kickstarter campaign. So you're gonna be live on that platform for those 30 days. During that duration, people can fund your actual project, they can back your campaign, and your funding meter can go up and up. So with every Kickstarter campaign, you have a particular goal that you're trying to hit or exceed. You must hit or exceed your goal in order to keep the funds which are raised, right? So hear me out here. Let's just say you have a $10,000 goal, right? And you end up only raising $9,000. What ends up happening then? What ends up happening is that everyone gets their credit cards refunded, or they aren't charged in any kind of way, and basically you haven't hit your fundraising goal. So you can decide to do another campaign, you can decide to scale it down or launch with more effective techniques, which I talk about in my free course, which you can check out down below. So I have a free course walking you through step-by-step how to do a Kickstarter campaign, which you can check out down below at crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter, and that will really help you when it comes to getting started with this. So that being said, right, you have basically this campaign, which has a certain duration. Once you hit or exceed your fundraising goal, that means that the campaign is moving forward. It's technically successful. However, it's still live on the platform until the duration goes down. So until you get to 0 days, right? The actual campaign is live. So at that point in time, with a successful campaign, all the credit cards are charged. You then have those funds deposited into your bank account around 14 days after the campaign is done. And if you have any information you need to gather from your backers, you can then send out a survey to gather that information when it comes to shipping addresses, when it comes to selection of perks or colors or that kind of stuff. So you can do that after the fact. By providing this service, Kickstarter will charge a 5% fee at the time I'm recording this video, as well as credit card processing. So those credit card processing for obviously, a little bit more when it comes to the 5% fee. So basically those are the main fees that you're hitting when it comes to doing an actual Kickstarter campaign. You also might decide to engage the services of a coach like myself. You might also decide to engage the services when it comes to marketing help with execution, etc. So these are different ways in which you can kind of get help with doing a campaign. I would say it's very spotty. You want to make sure you're working with good people. You want to make sure you're working with people who know what they're doing, because there are a lot of people out there that don't, and they're just always promoting their services, and really it just isn't that great. Once that campaign has been fully funded and all this is happening, credit cards have been processed, etc., you then are basically in fulfillment. So during fulfillment, you are updating your Kickstarter backers. You're telling them about when the project is going to come. You're talking about, okay, this is going to be delayed a little bit, right? So I would say an average fulfillment time when it comes to a Kickstarter campaign is usually around 3 months, 4 months. On the early side, maybe 2 months. On the longer side, maybe 5 to 6 months. The longest I've seen campaigns take to deliver is usually around a year. So it really does vary when it comes to, and also the intricacies of the product and supply chain issues and global events and all that kind of stuff. But the great thing about this is that it's not similar to Amazon where you have to ship in 2 days, right? You're really having a longer fulfillment duration. You actually have to make the product, you have to get it made in massive quantities, and then you gotta ship it out to your backers, right? Using an order fulfillment company or using another service like that. So let's quickly recap. If you are an inventor in the audience and you wanna do a campaign to raise funds for a new invention to kind of help with the minimum order quantity to get it out there so you can get feedback on that product as well as some revenue to kind of get the company going. The things that you would need to do is, number one, you need to make sure that you're working at least towards a prototype, which you can show on the Kickstarter campaign platform. Number two, and also you don't necessarily need a prototype to get started with a pre-launch, which is great, right? But number two, you need to then also be working in terms of getting a video done, getting a campaign page done, thinking about your perks and rewards, the things you're going to need to actually put on that campaign page. I'm going to be thinking about a marketing strategy, a promotion strategy once you go live. Also beforehand, I talk about this a lot in my free course as well, which you can check out down below at crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter. You can learn more about that. So this is really something where it's going to be having to assemble a bunch of different things in order to do a campaign. You're compressing a lot of work into a very short time span. So you can make rapid progress on this. You can get something going very quickly. And then when you're live, you can also make the fruits, right, just incredibly abundant, have a media firestorm of tons of people checking you out. So rather than doing a traditional launch and having to work hard to just get everyone to notice you, you're doing a Kickstarter campaign launch, which not only is getting you funding, but also helps when it comes to exposure and also helps when it comes to getting feedback as well on your products. So if I did not hit one item or a question when it comes to this, there are a lot of elements that go into actually running a campaign, but the most important things as well, are to really be aware of the duration, be aware of sort of the phases of the campaign, to be aware of what you need in terms of items, being aware of the fact that you got to market it and promote it. There's not just the Kickstarter platform, obviously that has a great backer community and people back campaigns regularly there. There's super backers, etc. But you also need your own marketing strategy. And lastly, I would say just being aware of the fees and how that works is a really important part of the process. I'm telling you, man, for inventors in the audience, for people out there that are those idea generating machines, this is something where when you can actually not only get that machine working in your favor in terms of a system that you can use to commercialize these products, to get these out there into the world, to get funding for them, and to de-risk this entire piece of the process, you can launch campaign after campaign after campaign. So learning this process is extremely rewarding, it's extremely profitable, and understanding it as well can help you build a brand out of nothing and really just kind of build the entire foundation of a new company. So many different people listening to the podcast who started out with nothing, who launched a campaign, were able to build companies of 10 people, of 20 people, right, over time through this new method, which is crowdfunding. So this is something that's so incredible. I definitely recommend you go check out my free course down below that kind of just holds your hands through this process, meant for beginners as well, to make things easy to understand at crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter. In addition, I will link up my weekly newsletter with killer crowdfunding tips where I share new cutting edge stuff every single week when it comes to crowdfunding. And lastly, I have a book that I've written, Kickstarter Launch Formula, which I will link up down below, which has an Audible version where you can actually get a free copy and also get a free 30-day trial of Audible. If you want to listen to this at the gym, on the way to work, while you're going out there, maybe you're doing, I don't know, whatever, you're deciding to go for a run, you're deciding to go to exercise, you're deciding to walk your dog, you're deciding to even clean your room, you're deciding to go jet skiing, right? Whatever it is, you can actually listen to this book at the same time, which is pretty freaking cool. And I do have a paperback version on Audible. Thank you so much for watching this video. Again, my name is Salvador Briggman. Give me a thumbs up, come subscribe, leave a comment down below if you want to show some love, and I will see you next time.